Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Brad Davidson Show. Today, I had an interesting experience or an interesting realization. There's a show on Hulu called Limitless, and it's pretty phenomenal. It's kind of all about pushing the human body and the experience of the human body. And one of the episodes, they had the gentleman, Helmsworth, I think it's Chris Helmsworth is his name, get to experience what it feels like to age. So they made his body feel like he was 80 years old and what it feels like to move around like that and what he would look like when he gets older. And it's really interesting. But the thing that caught my attention was a young lady in the show in her 20s that works with a lot of these elderly people, uh, made it known that she's battling terminal cancer. And she said, the reality of the things is that aging is a privilege. And it is a privilege that I am probably not going to get to experience. And that really, really hit me. This day and age, aging is like a curse. Everybody's afraid to age. They're fighting the aging process. They're doing everything they can to live young, look young, all those things. We've lost the power of aging. In so many cultures, the elderly people are revered as they're highly respected. They're looked up to. It's something that people look forward to. They become the people that have the wisdom. But gosh, in our society, especially in my industry of fitness and nutrition, as you get to a certain age, you start getting pushed out. And it's really sad to see. Because reality is it's the people that are getting older that have the experience, the wisdom. They've seen it all. They've tried things. They know what works, what doesn't work. And when I was a kid, like we went to the elderly people for advice. I miss my dad so much for that because I could go to him for advice in regards to his experiences and his thoughts and how, what's happened to him in his life. And it's gone. And it's weird. What I see in my industry is everyone's going to these young people because of how they look and their influencer status for advice, but yet they have no experience. I'm not bashing on them. It's a different style of business model, but they don't have the experience in the trenches. They're not working with people. Yet the older people that have all the experience that have been through all these different scenarios are getting tossed out as not valuable because we don't have the youth that we once had. And that's sad to me. And I see it having a very negative impact on the fitness community and what's kind of being pushed out. And I don't know. As I'm creeping up on 50, I remember being younger and thinking, man, that is so far away. That is so old. And my God, it got here so fast. And I tell all my young people that I work with in their 20s, I'm like, hey, I heard this when I was your age and I didn't buy it. I wish I would have. And what I kept hearing was how you treat your bodies in your 20s, you'll pay the price for in your 40s. So the things that you are doing to yourself in your 20s, you'll pay the price for in your 40s. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. I wish I could turn back the clock and change how I did things in my 20s versus completely destroying myself, over exercising, depriving myself of food, all the things that we're being taught to do to focus solely on how you look. I wish I wouldn't have done all that. I mean, it was a great learning experience for me to have done that and lived that. And that's why I'm so passionate about preaching the message of stop overdoing it. Stress is the greatest enemy because I used it so aggressively in my early life that it destroyed me when I was in my mid 30s. And I had to rebuild from it, but I'm still paying the price for all those things I did at such a young age. Hormonally is a big one. I absolutely destroyed my hormonal profile by how I chose to aggressively live my life in my 20s. You see, I made a critical mistake. I was taking little advice from so-called experts in the industry. I wanted to look like them. And what they would tell me is if you just train as hard as I do, you commit as much as I do, you don't hold back, you eat perfect like I do, you'll look like I do. And then the reality started coming out as all these men I was following were all on drugs. Yet I didn't come to the realization of that until I had destroyed myself trying to keep up with their recommendations without being on drugs. And it just didn't work out well. So what I've decided on myself is that I'm not going to shy away from the aging process. I'm not going to focus on trying to look young and be young. I'm going to accept the fact that I am getting older and the second half of my life is kicking in. And I have a lot of wisdom, a lot of experience in my industry. My gosh, I've done it all. I started a gym, built it up, sold a gym, wrote a book that was published with HarperCollins. I've traveled all over the world speaking. I've given over 600 speaking engagements. And now I'm back to what I love the most, which is the program design, the progression design, helping people get results. I love that part of it so much. That is super rewarding to me. I just got a text message from a good friend of mine. COVID had got to me, put on a bunch of weight. And we sat down. I'm like, okay, here's the structure I want you to follow. Start doing these things and you'll see some benefit. And he's down 30 pounds. Okay, it's been a slower process, not 30 pounds in a month. It's been 30 pounds over 6 months, but it's just slowly kicking in. His energy getting better, sleep's getting better. All those things are happening. I love that experience. I love getting those responses back when people are following the advice I've learned and it's working for them. I'm not here to create bodybuilders or fitness models. I view that as a sport and I highly respect that as a sport. Just like I work with football players and MMA fighters in the past, they are sports. It's not the realm you go to get super healthy. You do things to be great at those sports. And a lot of times it can be traumatizing to the body, but that's okay. It's part of the process if you want to be great at sports. There is a lot of sacrifice. My messaging and my desires is for people to have a great, healthy life as we get older, to be able to move really well, to keep your pain levels down, to keep your risk of injury down, to keep your energy high, and to keep your body looking as good as we can, because that does help with confidence. So as you listen to my messaging, you listen to things that I talk about, that's really what I'm focused on. I got a lot of negative feedback on my whole bulking and cutting post that I did a while back from one of my podcasts. And again, I think I've shared this, but it's from a lot of bodybuilders just calling me out. I'm like, no, I'm not a bodybuilder. Like, I'm not trying to be a bodybuilder. I don't think being a bodybuilder is a healthy way of life. What I'm doing is giving recommendations for people that are trying to put on muscle mass as they get older in a safe manner versus a destructive manner. I want insulin sensitivity to be very, very highly functional as that person gets older, because that allows you to put on muscle mass easier. So everything I focus on in regards to this idea of I want to respect and enjoy the privilege of getting older. I'm no longer going to fear it. I'm no longer going to joke about it. I've joked a lot about it, about how old I'm getting. I work at a gym where I'm 48 and the next closest person to me, I think, is 28. It's a big difference. I struggle with that a little bit. Like, I feel like maybe I don't belong here. But in retrospect, I'm the one that belongs probably the most because of all the experiences I've had. But here's what's crazy. You know how many of them have come up to me and asked for advice? There's 47 coaches in our gym. Myself and my partner Jay are definitely the two most busy coaches in that gym, working with the number of people we work with. I've had 3 coaches come up and ask me for some advice. I don't have the Instagram. I don't have the influencer. I'm not showing myself with my shirt off all the time. I'm not highlighting all the athletes I work with. Here's what's funny is that these men and women have met a ton of professional athletes, extreme high performers, celebrities, and they have no idea. They have no idea because I'm not flashing it, because my goal with the people I'm working with is to help them get a result, not to use them to showcase to the world how great I am. It's to help them become the hero in their journey. And I think that's really important for people to understand. If you're a type of coach, you got to help the people you're working with become the hero of their story. They don't care about you and being the hero of, and nobody cares about being the hero of my story. I do, for me. But none of my clients care about that. They want the focus to be on them. And that's why I'm so passionate about giving the message that I give, is because I want to help you be the hero of your story. So as we're getting older, stop fighting it, because it is an absolute privilege that you get to experience this part of life. And recognize at one point in our history, we were the most revered population, the people that were 45 and over, because we had the wisdom, the knowledge. We were the sages of the communities. I know that that's not there anymore. But there are still people that want to hear from us, that want to learn from us, that want to be exposed to us. And there's people that are our age that want to learn from us, that want better advice, that want to change things around. So I really want to help contribute to that realm of aging, around how to have a great body that works really well. And I'm so passionate about this because I've talked about my dad. He had a genetic disease and it wiped out his ability to use his body. And once you can no longer use this gift you were given, life is nowhere near as great as when you can use it well. So I think some of the most important things we can do as we get older is take extra care of ourselves. I have a client, Eric Weeks. I love this guy to death. I remember him telling me a few years back when he got a little older, he's like, man, when I turned 40, I realized the warranty was expired. I couldn't get away with all the stuff I could get away with when I was younger. So the older you get, the more you have to understand the warranty's expired. You got to take as best care of yourself as you possibly can. And there's a reward in that, because the better you take care of yourself, the better your days go, the better you feel, the more energy you have, the happier you are, the more driven you are, the better you perform. So the more you're going to get out of life. And I see people older than me that have taken great care of themselves, and they inspire me. Because, man, they're still moving around well. They're doing the things they love to do. They're engaged. They're energetic. They have great society or social connections around them because they're energetic. So I'm focusing less and less on how do I make you look great, and focusing more and more on how to give you a great life from a physical standpoint. It takes commitment. It takes effort. It takes strategy. And it takes stepping up to the plate and taking great care of yourself. Doing all the things that are a little hard. I want people to step in, because I did this recently. I talk a lot about this. Stop running from life, or stop numbing life. I know there's things that we've experienced in life, and the thought of having to go face those is so scary. I was scared to death to face my demons. And it's been a really hard journey. I've never watered that down. I'm still in it. I'm still fighting through it. I'm on the uphill side of it. But to truly experience it and feel it and deal with it, the emotions, the feelings, the pain, has been incredibly rewarding and incredibly strengthening. So I always challenge people, stop numbing it. We get really, really good as we get into life numbing our pain. But when you numb that pain, you also numb the experience of the greatness of life. You can't numb one part of life and not have it enhance another part of life. So if you're numbing the stuff that's hurting you, you're numbing the stuff that makes you feel great. That's what I've learned in this process. I talk a lot about stopping to drink alcohol, and I only did it for a couple of months because I just wanted to kind of clean my body up. I'd been drinking more than I typically ever had in my life, and it was affecting my labs a little bit. So I was just going to go 3 months. And I got to the 3-month mark. I'm like, I'm feeling pretty good. I just didn't have the urge to do it. So next thing I know, it was 8 months. And at that point in life, it was weird because I could feel my emotions and feelings so much more than ever before. The lows felt a little lower and the highs felt a little higher, but I was more stable and in the middle more often. But when really exciting things would happen, I would get more excited about them. When my good things would happen to my kids, I would get more emotional and excited about that. Yes, and when I'd have bad days, I'd have bad days. And I'd feel them more. And that was really hard for me because I for a long time, I just numbed those bad days. But I couldn't believe how much it was affecting my good days and how many less good days I was having. So stop numbing it. Stop running from it. Face it. That's one of the joys I think that is reachable for us, is to face that. And you hear everyone talking about it. Like the magic in life is by facing the things that you're most scared of. If you face those things, that's when the true magic starts to appear. And I really believe in that. I really believe in that. But as we get older, you cannot just go kick the crap out of yourself at the gym and expect a good result to happen. It's going to impact your hormones. It's going to impact your brain. Not good things are going to happen. So you got to be more strategic. This whole game of stress has more and more of an impact on us because our hormonal reserves are lower and lower and lower. So you have to have really good strategic strategies around your exercise. And I talk a lot about those. You have to get strategic around your nutrition. You can't eat like you could in your 20s. And a lot of us recognize this. What it really starts to impact is your joint health. If you notice, when you start eating poorly, your joints feel worse. You start eating better, your joints feel better. And to have healthier joints as you get older, they don't hurt so much, makes life a whole lot more fun to live. Drink your water, get your sleep, really focusing on the recovery. The whole idea, the aspect that I learn my athletes, that I preach to everyone, is you want to apply enough of a stressor to create change in the workout you're doing, and then have strategies to enhance the recovery so you're recovering from it. That becomes mission critical as we get older. If you are not recovering from your workouts, they're only making you worse, not better. So learn to use things like contrast therapy, like hot to cold, going for lots of walks. Meditation is really good as you get older. Keeps the mind clear, keeps the stress levels down. Make sure you're sleeping really well. All the things I talk about in this podcast on how to keep stress levels down become more and more critical as we get older. The warranty is expired. You have to take extra special care of your body once that warranty is expired. For most of us, it's in our 40s. For some of us, we were so hard on ourselves, it was in our mid-30s. But I promise you, if you face your demons, just look them in the face and feel them and deal with them, as scary as it is. And then you step up and you start taking extra special care of yourself. Not because you want to lose 10 pounds, you want to drop your body fat. That will never create a better life. Start taking care of yourself so you have more confidence, you have more energy, you know your body's durable. I talked last week all about the importance of that durability aspect. So when trauma in life comes, you can handle it and survive it well. It is just so important that we step up and start taking better care of ourselves and really put a lot of emphasis on recovery. I just cannot tell you how powerful that is. So I hope that helps a little bit. If you are in that place, you're 40 and over, you're starting to feel your body slow down, all those parts of life are starting to come into play, and you're starting to freak out thinking, oh my God, my life's over, my youth is gone. No, your life is just beginning. You're just moving into another sector that can be a very beautiful sector. It just takes more structure, more strength, mentally, emotionally, physically, to continue to fight the good fight. Okay? Remember, aging is a privilege, not a curse. Enjoy this part of your life if you're there. And if you're young, it's coming for you and it's going to be here quicker than you know. So keep that in your mind as you're doing things to your bodies in your 20s. You're going to pay the price in your 40s. So be very strategic about what you're doing to yourself when you're young, because it will come back to bite you in the ass. I know firsthand. Okay? All right. Have a great week.